Welcome back to Miami. The Marlins are back home. They've got a 3-game set with their NL East rival, the New York Mets. Another beautiful night at Marlins Park. And yes, the roof is open yet again. With that, we say hi again, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollandsworth. Nice to be back. No extra layers. South Florida is nice this time of year.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the Marlins are happy to be home. They played some of their best baseball. I know that homestand was 2-4 when we started the season, but they played pretty good baseball. They got the opposition to come in and play, well, I'll call it their style, their Marlins style. Keep the ball in the yard, some good pitchers duels, and I don't know. I looked at the matchup before tonight's game. I have a feeling there's going to be another pitchers duel tonight.
Yeah, let's hope so. A great pitching matchup. Noah Syndergaard goes for the Mets, and it's Jose Urena going for the Miami Marlins. You remember last time out for Urena, he was up against Chris Sale and matched him pitch for pitch.
He was awesome. I mean, I'm going to go out and say it one more time. This was the best I've seen Urena going back to even last year. As good as he was last year, earned the opening day nod. That was awesome to watch. Used all 4 of his pitches, the 2-seamer, the 4-seamer. He moved some feet when he needed to move some feet for the Boston Red Sox. He also factored in that great changeup, a great slider. By the way, keep your eye on that slider. He's actually using it a little bit more this year.
And again, this time of the year, aces match up against aces, so Urena does that again tonight against Noah Syndergaard. And if you just look at this guy's numbers, if you watch him pitch, he's one of the most dominant right-handed pitchers in baseball.
Well, it starts with the velocity, and again, the sinking fastball, 97.2 miles an hour. That's the average, which means at times he's going to go over it. You got some velocity in the building tonight, so if you like hard throwers, you got him tonight. Noah Syndergaard, great stuff. He's got good numbers here at Marlins Park. He's got good numbers against the Marlins throughout his career. And oh, by the way, this Mets team, they're 7-1 anyway.
They are off to a great start, coming off a late night, a late arrival, maybe even early morning here into Miami, but they turn to Syndergaard. The Marlins have Urena. Opener, Marlins, Mets, coming up after the break. Away from the first pitch, Mets and Marlins, first of a 3-game set. First time these two teams meet up this year. Don Mattingly, familiar with the Mets in his career and For much more on this matchup, let's send it out to Craig and Nelly in center field.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. All right, everybody heard about the big 20-1 drubbing on Saturday. It's one game out of 162. What Don Mattingly really liked that he talked about today was the bounce back on Sunday. He wants to see that from his team this season.
Everyone's nice that we get, but after that, kind of middle game, it was good for our guys, I think, to bounce back and, come out ready to play. And I think that's going to be the key for us moving forward is, you have to be able to kind of continue to move forward, good or bad, right? There's going to be good games like that, too, that you need to come out ready to play also. So I thought that was a nice little bounce back for us.
Nelly, baseball is the ultimate game where you want amnesia, and you got to be able to forget, win or lose, right? And right?
Short memory. It's just like Smith tomorrow night is going to have a short memory after his last out against the Phillies. But you're going to get beat down. You're going to get boat raced. The World Series teams get beat 20-1 or whatever it is. But what's more impressive, and I think Mattingly said it as well, or thinking that, hey, you have the 6th youngest team in baseball, and they came back the next day and won 6-3. They didn't lay down. They could have easily laid down 40-degree temperatures. All right, we have a short road trip. Let's just get back home where it's warm. Let's play the Mets. Forget it. We lose, no big deal. It's early. But they came back and won 6-3. That's impressive to me for young guys to be able to battle back and not give in.
And it was against the ace, too, and Jake Arrieta. The Marlins have fared well. They're going to have another duel with a great pitcher, Noah Syndergaard here. But the Marlins are going with their top pitcher, Jose Urena, who comes off a good game against the Sox. We've got baseball coming up, game 1 of 3, next.
Crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. Took everything, put it on the line, cause I never break or back down. One shot is do or die, and the odds ain't looking too pretty. But I got the feeling it's my time. I know I'm taking it now.
Getting set for the opener of a 3-game set between the Mets and the Marlins. Jose Urena toes the slab for the 3rd time this season. His last start was superb. He'd love to keep it up tonight. Again, facing an ace as he has in the first 2 of this 2018 season. Here is the lineup that he will face. Michael Conforto leads it off. The Mets are 7-1 through the first 8 games of the season for the 3rd time in franchise history, first time since 2006. They're doing it with the pitching, both starting and relieving. They're doing it with the offense as well. A .253 team average, 3rd best in the National League. On base at the 3rd best clip in the National League. Slugging also in the top 5 at number 4 in the NL, 404. So Jose Urena will try to slow down these bats tonight. Those are his season numbers coming off a gem his last time.
And Jose Urena, the right man for the job to slow those bats down, Paul. Here's why. .217 batting average against career versus the Mets. That's the lowest versus any National League opponent for Urena. He pitches well against these guys. Last season, 5 appearances, 3 starts, 2.25 ERA. And oh, by the way, as I've said time and time again, in my personal opinion, coming off the best start of his career, 7 Ks, tied a career high. You see the 7 innings. That was against the Boston Red Sox. 1 earned run, 1 walk, all 4 pitches working. Look for the same tonight.
Michael Conforto digs in to lead things off for the New York Mets, and the first pitch tonight is fouled away. 0-1 to the Mets center fielder.
Conforto activated off the 10-day disabled list last Thursday. Got back. Steven Strasburg start. 3rd at bat. Went deep.
And lines a single into center field to lead things off here tonight for the Mets.
Today's starting defense is brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Here is your Marlins defense. Dietrich Maben in center field, his first start in center field of the season. Lee over and right. Anderson, Rojas, Castro, and Bohr. Holiday again behind the plate. Nice day yesterday with Urena.
And now it's Yoenis Cespedes, who went 1 for 6 last night.
Saved his best for last. That 1 for 6. That 1 hit was their game winner in the 12th. Single to center field. Broken bat single.
Word is they got into the hotel at 5:15 in the morning.
Well, we got home off the trip. Made our way back. New routes and everything else. Back on the bus. Back to Marlins Park. Everybody grabbed their bag. We all got home, right? And I'm like, all right, we got to put some notes together for the Mets. Get kind of locked down here. And then, like, wait, they're still playing.
Yeah.
It was well past midnight. They were still getting after it. Like, hopefully they're tired today.
Yeah. Well, there are only 4 guys in this lineup that have started now all 9 games for the New York Mets. As Yoenis Cespedes flies one out to left field. Moving toward the line is Dietrich. And he'll put that one away for the first out.
Nice job by Dietrich as Conforto raced back to first base. Had the tag and did a nice job of getting rid of the baseball. Well done.
There's Mickey Callaway in his first year as a big league skipper, and off to a terrific start. Nearly perfect. 7-1. This Mets team comes in having won 5 straight games. Of course, most recently a pitching coach in Cleveland. Pitching is his strength. Pitching the strength of this Mets team as well. As Jay Bruce digs in with 1 on and 1 out. Bruce takes outside. I mentioned that Cespedes, one of 4 guys who've started all 9 games. Along with Cespedes, Jay Bruce, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Todd Frazier have now started all 9. So no rest for the weary as they are back in the lineup today after getting in just before rush hour here in Miami.
Jay Bruce, after going to Cleveland, traded over to Cleveland in 2017, back with the Mets with a 3-year deal. He's off to a really good start. 6-game hitting streak. 320.
Again, the national game last night, first pitch is at 8:08, so they're already going to get to town a little late. Then you play a 12-inning game. We played 17, so I'm not really worried about that 12. But no, they didn't get to Miami until 4:30. First pitch tonight, 7:10. No batting practice. A little bit infield, outfield just to get the blood flowing a little bit, but no BP. Try to save their legs as best they can as Bruce swings through the 2-0, and it's now 2-1.
The two-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Jay Bruce. Well, listen, if you're in the media and you were walking through the Mets clubhouse and you were asking the question, how is your team get ready for this? There's a staple answer that's built into this equation for the Mets today. You know, are you worried about your defense? Are you worried about the offense? You guys got in so late. And the answer is Noah Syndergaard.
Runner goes, throw down to second is in time, right on the mark, as Conforto is gunned down by Holiday, 2 away.
Got the eye and crossed the tee. That was a perfect throw from Holiday. Quick release. Nice tag as it is waiting for Conforto. Out number 2. Top of the first.
But yeah, one-word answer, Thor. That's how we get ready for this.
All right, you can go Thor. I didn't think everybody gets it, but that's. I mean, and again, having done a few of these games in my career, not just in the broadcast booth, but as a player, obviously you travel across the country, you get stuck, you end up playing extra innings, and next thing you know, you get in at 5 o'clock in the morning. It happens to probably every team at least once a year. And where your eyes always go is to that starting pitcher that day. You're hoping he goes out and protects what you might think would be a slow offense.
Ground ball to first. This is Justin Bohr. He will take it himself. And thanks to a caught stealing, it's a 1-2-3 inning for Jose Urena. See the Marlins when we come back. Collinsworth, a scoreless top of the first inning for Jose Urena against the New York Mets. And now Noah Syndergaard will get a chance to face this Marlins lineup. Slightly different look than what we've seen. Lewis Brinson not in the starting lineup today. Don Mattingly said before the game, you know, he struggled a little bit in Philadelphia, so he wanted to give the youngster an opportunity to just watch a baseball game. Work on some things today before the game and just watch the game. So out in center field today is Cameron Maybin in that number 6 hole. But this is Derek Dietrich to lead things off against Noah Syndergaard, and he takes the first pitch outside for ball 1.
98 miles an hour on the first pitch of the ball game with tailing action. The highest velocity sinkers in the game.
As far as I know, sinkers are not supposed to be 98 miles an hour.
You'd think that at 98 miles an hour there wouldn't be enough space between the mound and home plate, right?
Oh, man.
There's a few guys in the game that can do this. Create that movement in the strike zone, still maintain the velocity. You're watching it. Well, that was his changeup at 89. That's right, changeup.
He is a gifted individual. There is no question about that. One of the fun ones to watch is, again, as long as you're not in the box against him, as Derek Dietrich is, but he chops one to second base, and there's one out.
Go ahead and give you the scouting report for Noah Syndergaard. Auto Nation scouting report. He's 6'6". He's a big guy, 240 pounds, still only 25 years old. He was an All-Star in 2016. Yep, he's back. Only 7 starts last year in 27. He had a partially torn lat muscle. He got off to a great start, though. 1.73 ERA in 4 starts. All right, here's what I find so interesting. Fast, faster, and fastest. Get this. Some of the highest velocities on all those pitches that he throws. We're going to get to him throughout the game. The fastball averages 97.3. The slider, 93. The changeup, you saw it, 90 miles an hour on the changeup. And oh, by the way, his curveball, which he'll throw at some point in this game, the hardest in the game, 85 miles an hour. An 85-mile-an-hour curveball. Impressive stuff. Efficiency the key, coming off a start in Philadelphia. So keep an eye on that tonight. 92 pitches in 4 innings. The Phillies did a really good job of getting that pitch count up.
Swing and a miss for Miguel Rojas. Rojas homered in yesterday's ball game. Also homered in the last game of 2017 against the New York Mets. Was 2 for 10 with that homer. And a couple of runs scored in the series against Philadelphia.
Hitting .383 in his last 14 games versus the Mets.
Too short. 2 away.
The Mets defense is brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Centers. Cespedes, Conforto, Jay Bruce in right. Todd Frazier at third base. Rosario gets the start at short. Cabrera, Gonzalez, Loecki behind the plate for Noah Syndergaard.
That'll bring up Starlin Castro, who was 2 for 9 with a couple of runs scored and a double in the series against Philadelphia. He's reached base in all 9 games that he's played this season. The on-base percentage a little over 400 at 409 as he takes ball 1 from Noah Syndergaard.
He's riding a 14-game hitting streak here at Marlins Park, so seeing the ball very well to start the season.
Don Mattingly talked about it before the game. When you talk about the arsenal and the velocity that Noah Syndergaard has, kind of find zones. Stay there and then try to hit it when it gets into that zone.
And again, work off the fastball. Again, you know, unless that slider is right where you want it, you're probably not going to do too much with it. You're not sitting on or... There's the curveball at 85 in the zone. Yeah, the point being is that you become a zone hitter when you have really high velocity, and then you do your best to defend the secondary pitches. Still working off that fastball. You can't sit on a slider against Syndergaard.
A 1-2 to Castro. A lot of movement on that ball. I mean, that started where, about the inside corner and moved a foot in off the plate.
98-mile-an-hour sinking fastball, as I told you. He brings it. All of his pitches are elite.
He gets Castro to chase. A 1-2-3 first inning for Noah Syndergaard. We go to the top of the second. Scoreless in Miami. first inning. Noah Syndergaard getting a strikeout of Starlin Castro for out number 3. So to the top of the second we go. Jose Urena will face 4, 5, and 6 for the New York Mets. Todd Frazier, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Adrian Gonzalez. Todd Frazier, his numbers against the Marlins a little under 300 with 3 home runs and 16 RBIs. A good chunk of those numbers with the Cincinnati Reds. Most recently, Todd Frazier coming over as a free agent from the New York Yankees.
He signed a 2-year deal earlier this season. I need to be careful how I say that because a lot of free agents signed in February, right?
I just call it the winter.
Well, yeah, right. You think back and you're like, free agency, guys signed November, December. No, that's not the case. It certainly wasn't this winter. Todd Frazier won, and honestly, Todd Frazier was out in front.
Yeah,
he signed in February, 2-year deal with the Mets.
Just off the outside edge at 96 miles an hour from Jose Urena, so it's now 3 balls and no strikes.
He's hit well. He's actually played in Marlins Park, 17 career games here. Last played here as a White Sox.
And a 4-pitch walk to start the second. With a Marlins Student Pass, South Florida college students can receive exclusive ticket offers to select Marlins home games this season. For just $10 per game, you'll be notified via text on the day of the game, so you can purchase up to 4 tickets for you and your friends. Register today at marlins.com/student. That'll bring up Asdrubal Cabrera. He's hit in 7 straight games dating back to the second game of the season. 2 for 4 with a home run last night. And swings through the first offering from Jose Urena. He was 5 for 13 on the road trip with a double and that home run and a couple of RBIs. And as I mentioned before, one of the 4 New York Mets that is 9 for 9, starting in all of the Mets' 9 games so far this season.
Cabrera, the one who struggles the most with Urena. Yeah, there's some numbers in this lineup, but Cabrera 1 for 14. I thought it was a very interesting matchup. You see the overshift and the switching going on now with 2 strikes. Yeah, 1 for 14 in his career against Urena. Off to a hot start. Riding a 7-game hitting streak.
Seventh career start and 11th appearance against the Mets for Jose Urena. 3-3 with a 3.27 ERA. Last season, 5 appearances, 3 starts against the Mets. Was 2-1 with a 2.25 ERA. And the 3 starts alone, 20 innings and 5 runs. A base hit up the middle for Asdrubal Cabrera. Mets have 2 on and nobody out in the second.
Well, that's the definition of a hot hitter. 0-2 pitch to Cabrera. As I mentioned, the numbers 1 for 14 against Urena, and he is swinging the bat as well as anybody in the lineup. Look at the elevation where that pitch was, and he was right on it, whistled it into center field. To the top of Urena. He's took an aboard for the Mets in the second.
And one of their new faces this offseason, along with Todd Frazier, Adrian Gonzalez. He's had an interesting last few months. Of course, he's in the final year. He did go around at 0-1. He's in that final year, that 7-year, $154 million contract that he signed with Boston back in 2011. But if you recall, he acquired by the Dodgers in a trade with Boston in 2012. It was a pretty quick exit from Beantown. And then he was acquired by Atlanta in a trade with the Dodgers about a week before Christmas, a week to 10 days before Christmas this past December. He was DFA'd by Atlanta the same day, released a couple of days later, and then signed with the Mets as a free agent for the minimum.
Yeah, and that's one of your more, we'll call it more of a modern trade. This,
Right.
It wasn't a knock on Adrian Gonzalez. You know who plays first base for the Braves, right?
Yeah, Freeman's pretty good. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, they kind of got around. And I thought, well, I really don't think that's a knock on Gonzalez.
Frazier's back. Yeah, it's one of those kind of like money shifting type of trades.
And you see a little bit more of that in today's game than we have in years past. Certainly know that he has game left. Gonzalez, a grand slam yesterday, the 6th of his career in the Washington Nationals game.
Frazier off second, Cabrera off first. The 1-1 from Urena is outside. 2 balls and a strike. Yeah, he's got some game left, but don't look at the back of the baseball card for the 2017 season. It was really an injury-riddled year for Adrian Gonzalez, and you never say that. He was on the DL for the first time in his career in May, right elbow soreness. He was also on the DL from June 12th to August 18th with low back discomfort. So, yeah, if he's back at 100%, then the Mets are, you know, they're going to have one of the best defensive first basemen in the game, and certainly a guy that can handle the bat as well.
You know, part of the problem in LA is that they had a young man burst onto the scene in his absence, and what did he do? Set a Dodger rookie record for home runs. Bellinger. You can say it however. Adrian Gonzalez had excellence all around him. Yeah, he was dealing with an injury, but it was hard to get back even in LA. I mean, there was obviously rumblings and grumblings towards the end of the season. Thought maybe he would come back, but again, really no place for him to play.
3-1 to Agon. A big swing and a miss, and it's 3-2.
Gonzalez 2 for 7 against Urena in his career.
Line into right field, a base hit. Frazier gets the green light around third. And RBI for Adrian Gonzalez, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
After blowing a 96-mile-an-hour fastball by Gonzalez on the 3-1 pitch in the zone, but down. This in off the plate. Gonzalez, nice job rotating through that swing. Doesn't get all of it. Again, the velocity certainly helps off the bat as he drops it down the right field line. That's in business. With a 1-0 lead at the top of the second. Walk to start the inning. Now back-to-back hits by Cabrera and Gonzalez.
That's the old baseball adage. The leadoff walks will come back to haunt you. And it has so far in this second inning for Jose Urena. He's got runners on first and third. And a 1-0 on the way to Kevin Plawecki. Left side. Anderson to second for one. On to first, the double play, but Cabrera comes in to score, and the Mets take a 2-0 lead.
Marlins willing to trade a run for a couple of outs. Nice job turning the double play.
And now Noah Syndergaard takes a big swing, 95 right by him. Well, the man doesn't get cheated at the plate. Not at least not on that swing. With 4 homers and 10 ribbies in his career, you know he's up there to help himself. 0-2.
Well, a man that size, if he barrels it up and runs into it, you've got to believe it's going to go a long way. Got a big strike zone, though.
That's true. Not big enough to chase that pitch. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Urena's already given up more runs than he did in his last outing. A run on 4 hits over 7 innings against the Red Sox on April 3rd. Walked 1, struck out a career-high tying 7, and he gets his first strikeout of the night here. But the Mets scored 2. They lead it after an inning and a half.
Noah Syndergaard and the Arsenal. We saw it in the first inning, and it's a developing trend. I've been keeping my eye on this over the last few seasons, and we're starting to see numbers that are increasing. Talking about guys coming into a ball game, that first inning opening up the Arsenal. You saw the fastball at the top, then the 85-mile-an-hour curveball, the 98-mile-an-hour sinker, and then to Starlin Castro. You see that helmet start to come off. Guess what? The great equalizer, 98 in. Then you go away with the slider. He showed him the entire arsenal. Now, part of my theory, it's not really a theory, it's just the state of the game, is that bullpens, these super bullpens, are being used earlier in ball games. So, my generation, go out, establish your fastball. You're going to throw 110 pitches today, so that second time through the lineup, save a little, don't show too much. And what I'm seeing, aces included, coming out in that first inning, bringing the entire arsenal to the table, going out to the bullpen, getting it all ready, and bringing it right there in the first inning. And a lot of these guys aren't, 200-inning guys aren't as prevalent in the game today as they are. So better to bring the table, bring it to the table early.
First pitch to Justin Bour was tapped right in front of home plate. Plawecki over to first, and one quick out in the second inning. You make an excellent point, and I wonder how that all dovetails into another thing that we're seeing a lot more of in Major League Baseball, and that traditional leadoff hitter, that speedster guy who's going to see a lot of pitches and get on base. We don't, some lineups have it, but some lineups, I'm thinking Charlie Blackmon. Last year we saw Jose Bautista. Yeah,
on base percentage.
And now it's like all power, and the guys don't have to work an 8-9 pitch at bat to start.
Michael Conforto.
Exactly.
27 home runs last year. He can steal a base, but he's not a huge stolen base threat. He's not Billy Hamilton, but he does it a little different. And it's even how the Mets are put together. So you're right. The game is changing, and we're watching it right in front of our eyes, but things are developing differently, and I think it's so interesting. I've watched it so many times. The Marlins have gone up against a lot of these aces, and these aces, even the aces, which, the day, it was only a few seasons ago, we'd say, all right, comes out in the first inning, two-seamer, four-seamer. Establish it, not just the first inning, but probably that first time through the lineup. Maybe you'd see an occasional slider to the 3 or 4 hitter, maybe a changeup, but save your secondary pitches for that second time through the lineup, so there's an element of surprise. Then you introduce that, you give them a different look. Obviously, your arm slots all stay the same. You see the ground ball to the left side.
Barehanded by Frazier, and the long throw. That's a heck of a play by Todd Frazier over at third to take one away from his counterpart, Brian Anderson, 2 away.
Todd Frazier ends up at home plate. That's how much momentum he had. So a strong throw across the diamond, and it is bang bang at first base, but Gonzalez just gets the ball into the interior of the glove before Brian Anderson's foot hits first base. Yeah, so merely just to wrap that up, part of it is that that we've got bullpen action so much earlier in ball games. Managers willing to do it. At times we've seen it early already. The extra guy in the bullpen, specialists. You hear the same thing. It was only a few seasons ago. A lot of these bullpens were get as many guys that throw 95 plus down there. Now it's no. Give me a couple sinker ballers. Give me a couple lefty specialists. Yeah, and 2 or 3 of the guys that throw really hard. But I want to blend it all in together.
Yeah. Quickly 0-2 to Cameron Maben. You see Dave Island, new pitching coach in New York under Mickey Callaway. First-year skipper. The 0-2 to Maben is in the dirt. A ball and 2 strikes.
Well, a developing trend, 5 batters in. We got 4 ground ball outs by Syndergaard and 1 strikeout.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's all related. If he can miss barrels instead of just missing bats, I'm sure the Mets would be happy with that, and therefore he could work deeper into ball games. I mean, it's one thing you strike out 15 guys and you work 5 innings. It's a lot different. I mean, it's nice, it's exciting, it's entertaining, but it's not efficient. 21st pitch of the night, misses outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Maben, who's again starting in center field tonight. Was 1 for 6 in Philadelphia. Getting a start in center field. Lewis Brinson a night off tonight. Second strikeout of the night for Noah Syndergaard. Little help from his defense in that inning. Sets down the Marlins 1-2-3 in the second. Magic City as Marlins Park plays host to the opener of a 3-game set against the New York Mets. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. First pitch to Ahmed Rosario. Misses, and it's a ball and no strikes. 9-1-2 for the New York Mets here in the third, leading 2-0. RBI single from Adrian Gonzalez and a double play that scored a run from Kevin Plawecki. A couple of runs for the Mets in the second, and back to work here in the third against Jose Urena, who is now 3-0 to Ahmed Rosario.
Urena can fight his way back into this count. That was a developing trend. On the second inning, a 4-pitch walk to Frazier that led to 2 runs.
Feels like Rosario thinks these pitches are a lot further inside than they are.
I think he's just trying to walk.
Instead, he scorches one to center field. Maben is back, and that one's off the wall. The extra bases for Rosario, who holds up at second base with a leadoff double. So much for my theory.
They'll get the ball up. A bit different than the 2 previous pitches. Knee-high strikes from Urena. This fastball, again, 3 in a row. 2-seamer at the thigh. Good, quick swing from Rosario as he cuts that fastball off, drives it off the top of the wall. Missed a home run by about a foot. The leadoff man on in the third. That is now 3 innings in a row. Urena has allowed the leadoff man on base.
Missed it by that much. Here's Michael Conforto taking outside. Conforto singled but was caught stealing back in the first inning. We were talking about last inning. Conforto, one of those leadoff hitters that possesses more power than your traditional Vince Coleman type, Willie McGee type from back in the day. But back in the lineup for the New York Mets on a regular basis after an injury last year. It was really kind of an odd injury. Takes a called strike. He left the game in August after swinging. He grabbed his shoulder. He underwent surgery in September after he had dislocated his shoulder and had a torn posterior capsule. But that really all goes back to the injury woes that the Mets suffered last year, as Conforto sends this one out to Dietrich in left field for out number 1. Rosario won't advance.
Hey Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by T-Mobile. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go. An unproductive out from Conforto. Fly ball to left. See if Urena can put that in his back pocket and make it happen out of this inning.
Tough out here as Yoenis Cespedes will step in. Cespedes flew out to left field back in the first. Came into this ball game hitting .296 with 5 doubles, a triple, 5 home runs, and 17 RBIs in 24 career games at Marlins Park.
Now 3 for 12 in his career against Urena. Fly ball to left his first time. Does have a home run.
Cespedes had hamstring injuries really hamper him for a large chunk of the 2017 season. And again, really a theme for the New York Mets last year.
Cold temperatures never really seem to bother Cespedes. He's got 33 home runs in March and April games. It's most of any month in his career. Go figure. It's pretty cold in Philly, although the ball apparently is flying out in Philadelphia as we speak.
That's right.
Reese Hoskins has gone deep, and Kingery right behind him for his first major league home run.
Last year for the Mets, 22 different players spent 1,489 days on the disabled list. Only the Dodgers and the Padres had more man days on the DL than them. 2 position players played 115 plus games. Jose Reyes and Asdrubal Cabrera. And they got only 81 games from the man at the plate right now, and Yoenis Cespedes. And it seems like a very simple thing to say. Again, if you look at the back of the baseball card for Cespedes, but when he's in the lineup, this is a much different offense. And maybe this year, with Bruce, with Frazier, with Adrian Gonzalez, it's a little bit deeper as he swings and misses for out number 2. But when he's healthy and in the lineup, the potency, they say that on purpose because his nickname's La Potencia, it's much different.
What a fantastic changeup from Urena. Fools Cespedes way out in front. The tailing action, diving action as well as it comes into the strike zone.
Jay Bruce swings at the first pitch. He grounded out to Justin Bour to end the first inning.
Back-to-back sliders to start this at bat. As I mentioned at the beginning of the ball game, the slider, he is using it more. Last year, he used the slider about 23% of the time. It's up to 30%, just over 30% this year. In part because it has really developed. It's been a good pitch.
Nubbed foul at home plate. A ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Urena, and I think what's been most impressive, and I know it's early and obviously he's down 2-0 in this ball game. But watching him sequence this year against some teams that have faced him before in the past, willing to go up against offenses or a Jay Bruce and a Cespedes and throw first or second pitch secondary pitches, playing back to the fastball. He did not do any of that last year. It was fastball lead the way, get the secondary pitches going if they're there.
This one is popped up toward the Marlins dugout. Holiday giving it a look, and he overran that one. It was right on the mouth of the dugout there, and you have to imagine he was worried about those steps.
I agree. Get over to the steps, and I think that maybe is what cost him. See, Raj, he comes in and he slides. No, his feet slide out from underneath. He wasn't able to step back. Watch the right foot. See, it's going to come out from underneath him. No easy task to put the catcher's uniform, catcher's gear on and try. By the way, that ball was way up there.
Yeah, the roof is open again tonight, so we're 7 for 7 this year. But I think if the roof was closed, that might have hit something. That was a high pop. Trying to strand Rosario, who had a leadoff double in this inning. 2-2 to Jay Bruce. And a base hit into left center field. Rosario will come around to score, and the Mets have a 3-0 lead. Now Todd Frazier, who walked and scored back in the second inning. Pops this one up. This one will reach the seats easily. 0-1.
That's riding a 5-game winning streak.
Upstairs to Todd Frazier.
It's a good pitch.
Pitch number 55 for Urania is sent out to right center field. Moving over is Maben, and he and Braxton Lee get to the same place at the same time, but it's Maben to put it away for out number 3.
Snow cone, anybody?
Made the catch, and thankfully nobody injured. Another run in, 3-0 Mets. Welcome back to Marlins Park. A 3-0 lead for the New York Mets as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Noah Syndergaard has been efficient to this point. 22 pitches, 15 for strikes. A couple of strikeouts along the way, and he has faced the minimum through just the first 2. He'll face 7, 8, and 9. Braxton Lee, Brian Holiday, and Jose Urania. Strike 1 to Braxton Lee, who gets the start out in right field today. Got his first big league hit on Saturday. His first couple of big league RBIs on Sunday.
Those were big RBIs in the game versus Philadelphia Phillies against Jake Arrieta. 2 for 5 in that Phillies trip with a couple of RBIs.
And another base hit. Lines one the other way toward the gap in left center. Cut off by Cespedes, but heading towards second is Lee. And he's out.
Well, a youthful base running mistake here in the 3rd inning. Respect the arm, the cannon of that man in left field, Yoenis Cespedes. Dare I say part setup. He certainly does put the ball on the bag. You see the arm strength. You love the hustle from Lee. Great swing of the bat. As Noah Syndergaard certainly continues the hot hitting. He's now hitting 3 games. But you mentioned infield today, and if you would have seen infield today, you would have seen Cespedes doing that.
That is one of his tools. There is no question about it. I always think back. I know there was a lot of air underneath it, but the throw he made, I believe he was still with the A's at the time.
From the warning track?
From the warning track in Anaheim. All the way home. And if memory serves, it was a strike.
It was on a dot. Yeah, he put it on a tee. He just did it again. That was a strike into second base.
He's not putting it on a tee anymore. Did you know that? He's not golfing anymore.
No, I did not know
yeah,
that.
he gave up the golf.
Tap foul by Holiday. You get too good too fast. Is that what happened?
Well, it was cutting into his. He was. I forget if the team didn't like it or if he was unable to get his work, his treatment, whatever it was. But he picked up golf kind of quote unquote later in life. It wasn't like he'd been playing it his whole life, but just picked it up, loved it, and would play every single day before a game. You take a cart, so it wasn't crazy.
You're saying he got bored?
No, I'm saying he refocused on baseball alone.
That's good to hear.
Get off his feet a little bit during the day.
Probably a good idea, don't you think?
Yeah. But if he's still addicted to paying for greens fees, I'll give him my number. He can pay for my golf.
Good take, borderline slider. Syndergaard, shot by Holiday. A big RBI single in the 8th inning. Yesterday's ball game, an insurance run. Nice swing of the bat.
3-2 to Holiday. Out towards center, and it stays up for Conforto. 2 outs. And now it's Jose Urena. So if you're a baseball fan, you come to the ballpark to watch this guy, let's just say, Noah Syndergaard. Again, from a Mets perspective, from a Marlins perspective here. So go to the ballpark, you're going to see Noah Syndergaard. As a fan, you're all jazzed up. What's the conversation like in the clubhouse before the game? Is it any different than when it's, Joe Schmo on the mound?
No, just getting focused, ready to do your job that day. I don't think you get any. Listen, when you're younger, you probably do, but you do your best not to look to the name on the back of the uniform. Just focus on the one that's on the front. He's wearing. You got to get past that. That's what a lot of young men have to do. We talked about that. Now 23 hits for this young Marlins team. 23 hits by rookies. The second closest team. I think the Phillies have like 11. So the Marlins are youthful. Yeah, they see Noah Syndergaard out there. But remember this: Noah Syndergaard's 25. Half the young guys on the Marlins are right around that age. So yeah, you can make a big deal about it if you want. It really just becomes about executing your game plan. At some point, you become a little bit more relaxed in those situations, and you show up, just, like I said, merely ready to do your job.
He's got 3 strikeouts, and they have been the 3rd out of each of the 3 innings. Some Mets at the Bobblehead Hall of Fame. West, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By W.B. Mason. Who but W.B. Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota, let's go places. Back here at Marlins Park, there's Thor at the Bobblehead Museum. I think
that's a Noah Syndergaard Thor. He's got that that superhero nickname, and if you've watched the guy pitch, you've seen the hair. The guy is chiseled from granite. He's not even wearing a uniform anymore because he sweats through it. It's unbelievable. He's fun to watch. Again, as long as you're not in the box, it's fun to watch. He has not been fun to watch for the Marlins tonight. He's got 3 strikeouts through 3 innings, and the Mets have a 3-0 lead as we go to the top of the 4th. Jose Urena will face Asdrubal Cabrera, Adrian Gonzalez, and Kevin Plawecki. That one in the dirt to the backstop, 1-0 to Cabrera, who singled and scored back in the 2nd inning. Another base hit for Asdrubal Cabrera as he just stays hot. If you go back to August 25th of last year, entering tonight, he's hitting .359, 15 doubles, 6 home runs, 27 RBIs, 22 runs scored, adding to some of those columns tonight as he rounds out the 2nd.
Beer Fest returns to the Cleveland Air here at Marlins Park on Saturday, April 14th. Sample more than 20 different domestic and international brews. Tickets start just $30. The Marlins take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Plus, you'll get early access to the party at the Clevelander here at Marlins Park. Purchase your tickets at marlins.com/beerfest.
Quick out of Cabrera. Here's Adrian Gonzalez. First pitch swinging down the left field line. A long run for Dietrich and Anderson, and neither is going to get there. It's 0-1.
That was an RBI single in the 2nd. One of the Mets' 3 runs. Grand slam yesterday, so the swing's starting to come around for Adrian Gonzalez. Mets are hoping that he will provide some pop and drive in some runs from the middle to the that 5-6 area of the lineup.
The Mets have a youngster that, depending on who you ask, in the last couple of years they thought might be their first baseman of the future in Dominic Smith. As Gonzalez to the gap in right center field, but Braxton Lee is there for the 2nd out. It's one of those situations where if you can get a guy like Adrian Gonzalez, and for the Mets, a team that in recent years hasn't really gone crazy with free agent spending, you can get a guy at league minimum with the accolades that Adrian Gonzalez has. I would imagine that that's pretty tough to walk away from.
Well, the composition of this team, obviously the young guns in the rotation, the veterans really comprise the offense. That's what they are. You look up and down this lineup from Todd Frazier, Adrian Gonzalez, Asdrubal Cabrera. I mean, you look at Jose Reyes on this team. You've got guys in their mid to early 30s, but veterans, guys who have been through the wars, and the bullpen veteran arms as well. Oh, by the way, this bullpen is off to a flying start. This Mets bullpen. Where did that miss?
Are you an automated strike zone guy? It's 2 outs. You don't have to answer that.
I am now.
That's a strike?
Maybe a little comeback there on the 88-mile-an-hour slider, little makeup call. I'll go there because the fastball before it had no line. It was all up in the strike zone.
Tapped up the 3rd base line, and this will stay foul. Hey, Marlins fans, be sure to tune in to Marlins Live, the pregame show before the next game, presented by your South Florida Honda dealers. Jacob deGrom will get the start. DeLand, Florida native, against that man right there, Caleb Smith. And it's email, it's Twitter Tuesday. Todd and I will have our social media accounts open and ready. We want the good, we want the bad, we want the ugly, we want it all. Maybe. Plawecki with a ground ball to third. And it's a 1-2-3 fourth inning for Jose Urena. But the Marlins trail 3-0. Is brought to you by Southwest Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by La Lechonera, the original mojo since 1970. Look there at South Beach, 3-0 to the bottom of the fourth inning. Noah Syndergaard has lived up to the hype. So far, so good. Just the one hit allowed and the 3 strikeouts. It's been tough on the Marlins hitters.
Man, it really has. He's mixed his pitch as well, and we're going to show you. We're going to give you the feel at home of what this looks like. Okay, so you think you can hit a big league fastball. All right, watch closely. This is a big league fastball, Noah Syndergaard's, and his curveball imposed together. See how it's all brought together? And look at the separation. Now, what you see Urena swinging at is the 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and you see where the breaking ball actually is lagging behind, but it is gaining drop, vertical drop into the strike zone. Watch it again slow, concentrate. That's what a big league hitter has to differentiate and then make contact with. Oh, by the way, on a sweet spot on a bat that's about that big. I got my fingers, it's about an inch and a half for the sweet spot. Good luck, right? You succeed 30% of the time, you can go to the Hall of Fame.
That's right. That's right. Swung on and fouled off by Derek Dietrich. Top of the order for the Marlins. Dietrich followed by Miguel Rojas and Starlin Castro against Noah Syndergaard, who is at now 36 pitches, 1 pitch into this fourth inning. The 0-1 is outside. So you could piggyback off of the comment that Don Mattingly made before the game when talking to reporters about, how do you try to attack this guy?
Right, you zone hit is what you do. And it really simply, for anybody to really understand, is that you can't back off that. Well, that's 89-mile-an-hour changeup. I guess what I'm getting at is the fastball. And in fact, that's what Derek Dietrich just showed you right there, is that he was zone hitting. You can't get off of the fastball. It's too fast. You have to be ready for the 98 miles an hour. It's see fastball, react to everything else that he throws.
And that got a piece of Derek Dietrich as the franchise lead continues to 75 now.
Should I drop a well done? I think I should. Double tap on the elbow pad. There it is. Makes its way to first base.
If you're going to get hit by a pitch, that is how you do it.
It's the body armor. But yes, you do not get off the fastball, defend those secondary pitches. Then you can get into the box and say, I'm going to sit on Noah Syndergaard's slider. Good luck.
Miguel Rojas grounded out to shortstop back in the first inning. And it's just one release point too, right? So everything's coming out of that same release point. And what we showed before, that those two shots that were kind of laid over one another. I mean, again, like, you want to be a big league hitter. Like Miguel Rojas? Absolutely. Dietrich takes a turnaround second, but he will stay put right there. Marlins have 2 on and nobody out here in the 4th.
Great piece of hitting. Miguel Rojas, back to his home run yesterday. Able to go to the top of the strike zone and get a long home run off Jake Arrieta in this instance here. Staying on Syndergaard. Derek Dietrich must let that ball pass, so he doesn't want to make contact. Nice job picking up his coach. Draws the throw. Marlins in business. Runners on first and second.
Easily their best scoring opportunity. They only had the 1 hit, and that was Braxton Lee, who was erased rather quickly as he was trying to stretch a single into a double. So the first time the Marlins actually have someone on base here, and they've got 2 on and nobody out against Syndergaard here in the 4th. Ball 1 to Starlin Castro. Something else that was fascinating as we look at the Marlins box score was another graphic we showed a minute or 2 ago about the first, the second, and the third times through the order. If I saw that right, it jumps up to 350 change the second time through, and then dips right back onto the interstate. Third time through the order. Marlins trying to cash in here. This is Castro to short. Rosario goes to second, and they get the double play. To third goes Dietrich.
Quick turn by Rosario and the Mets. To the backhand. 1 step and a quick, accurate throw to second base. Cabrera, quick release, quick hands. Former shortstop gets rid of this baseball. Just in the nick of time, beating Starlin Castro to first base.
Justin Bour takes low. Bour tapped one in front of home plate back in the 2nd inning. Bour was 2 for 11 with a run scored on the road trip. Marlins look to get their offense going on a more consistent basis. They certainly need this guy to get going. Saw him go the other way a few times in Philadelphia, a couple of them dropping for hits. Hit hard on the ground to Gonzalez, who makes a nice sliding catch and grab and throw to Syndergaard for the 3rd out of the 4th inning. On to the 5th here in Miami, 3-0 Mets. Opening day start. These White Sox beat the Brewers 4-2 at County Stadium. And speaking of the Pale Hose.
Hours ago, Sergio Romo
it's
throwing
enough
some
already.
snowballs.
Uncle on Winter. We've seen enough. I know the Tampa Bay Rays seem to be having a bit of fun, but the White Sox were snowed out. The Chicago Cubs were snowed out. Well, actually, no, they weren't snowed out. The Cubs were snowed out. The White Sox played the game somehow, some way, and then they lost 5-4. Probably rather not play the game. But yeah, I'm just about done. It took me 5 weeks to get sick and tired of the cold. That was it. 3-4 days in Philadelphia, done.
Clearly the Rays were quite enthusiastic. In fact, took batting practice in the snow, so they were ready. That's why they won, right?
You got to embrace it, I guess. That's it. I mean, you know, a few of us were in the clubhouse before the game, and you know, complaining as I do very well. This is one of the best things I do is complain. And we're complaining about how cold it was in Philadelphia. And Cameron Maybin, seasoned veteran, comes over and he says, "Guys, control what you can control. It's cold, but we could be doing something else." Great perspective from Cameron Maybin. But it was cold.
You're doing something else like keeping warm. End of story.
That's right. Just chugging the hot cocoa in Philadelphia. But this is beautiful. Again, 7th time that we've had the roof open. In this, the 7th home game. Batting 1,000. The 1-2 to Noah Syndergaard. Did he check his swing? He did not. A strikeout for Urania, his 3rd, and there's one away in the 5th.
Urania has retired 5 straight, settling into a bit of a groove.
Gave up a double to this man, Ahmed Rosario, back in the 2nd inning. Check that in the 3rd inning. Hit one to dead center field, a foot or 2 from getting out. Mets, by the way, going with that pitcher in the 8th spot, position player in the number 9 spot. As we've seen the Chicago Cubs do it, I think earlier this year they did it against the Marlins. A lot of teams do that for varying reasons. Kind of have that second leadoff guy, or perhaps an effort to get Rosario some better pitches to hit. Two and one.
Urania working around the strike zone. Fell behind Rosario first time up. Turned him around at 96 miles an hour. But Urania chooses to throw on this 3-2 pitch. I said first time up. In the 3rd, he threw him a fastball. The slider, well done. 4th strikeout on the evening. See the grip once again. Continue to rave about the slider, its effectiveness. Now, first at bat. Fell behind 3-1, 3-2. Obviously, all 3 of those pitches, fastballs. In that situation right there, used the fastball to get back into the count on the 3-1 pitch, and then went to the slider to pick up the strikeout. Well done.
And back to the top of the order for Michael Conforto. 0-1. Conforto singled and was caught stealing in the 1st, and flew out to Derek Dietrich in the 3rd. Moves his feet, 1-1. Since the start of last season, Conforto 28 home runs, 2nd most by a Met in that time, behind Jay Bruce's 30. And in the leadoff spot for the New York Mets, now that he is back and healthy, having dealt with that shoulder injury in August of last year.
Last year, a huge bounce back year for Conforto.
On the infield, Anderson, who's on the right side, is underneath it for out number 3. A 1-2-3 fifth for Urania. It is a 3-0 deficit, though, for the Marlins. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Girls Inc., inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. The combination of long-lasting mentoring relationships, safe pro-girl environments, and research-based programming equip girls to lead healthy lives and become leaders in their communities. Visit foxsportssupports.com to learn more. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth back with you for the bottom of the 5th. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Marlins. Brian Anderson, Cameron Maben, and Braxton Lee against Noah Syndergaard. Great opportunity in the 4th inning for the Marlins as they got Derek Dietrich on with a hit by pitch, and then Miguel Rojas with a base hit. 2 on and nobody out. But Starlin Castro grounded into a double play. Justin Moore grounded out, and the inning and threat were over. And against a guy like Syndergaard for sure, but even in general, these are those were the opportunities that the Marlins need to capitalize on when they've got them. Dribbler to short, Rosario under his glove, and Anderson's going to reach. In fact, he's going to head to second.
Nicely done. Good heads-up base running. Brian Anderson. Rosario sells out on the slow roller. Your outfielders, they did not move, and this is an untraditional backup. Tell the young guys, talking about the kids, listen, you got to back up every position. There's always somewhere to be, but this is a slow roller. Watch this. This is about 4 or 5 bounces before it gets to Rosario. Conforto hadn't even moved yet. So it's going to end up just out in shallow center field. End up being a 2-base error. A good opportunity for the Marlins.
So it's Cameron Maben swinging at the first pitch, sending it out to right field. Bruce is there. Tagging is Anderson, and a bluff to get the throw from Bruce. A little help from Rosario, but once again, Brian Anderson finds himself on base. Whether it's the hits or the walks, he seems to be on base quite a bit in his first week and a half of the regular season. He's on at second with 1 out for Braxton Lee, who singled but was thrown out trying to stretch it into a double. And he takes strike 1 from Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah, the one thing we're seeing from Braxton Lee is he gets more playing time. Think back to Saturday night. First a pinch hit, base hit, his first big league hit. Bounce one back up the middle, and 2-strike base hit yesterday against Jake Arrieta on a curveball down the left field line for a couple of RBIs. Nice bat against Syndergaard. Hit a fastball, lined it into the left center field gap. So more playing time for Lee. The results seem to be getting better. Confidence is starting to rise, and he's starting to get comfortable here at the major league level.
Yeah, speed and defense from Braxton Lee, certainly his calling card, definitely in the scouting report. But keep in mind, he also won the Southern League batting title in 2017. He hit .309. Also led the Southern League in hits, second in runs scored. And as you mentioned, getting increased playing time, the opening day right fielder, Garrett Cooper, have an update on his condition. Got that prior to the game today. So Garrett Cooper was hit by a pitch on the hand about a week ago. Was listed as day-to-day with a contusion. Gave it a day, came back, took some swings, pinch hit, started a game, and then after a swing and a miss, kind of flexed the hand a little bit. Something didn't feel right. So went back in, had an MRI. And the update today is that Garrett Cooper is going to be immobilized. The hand is going to go into a cast, a hard cast. So it could be a couple more weeks before we see Garrett Cooper. Braxton Lee strikes out for the second out here in the 5th. Here are tonight's Toyota trends. Focus in on Mickey Callaway, a first-year manager off to a 7-1 start. Only Joe Torre had as good of a 8-game start as a Mets manager back in 1977. So a terrific beginning to the career as Mets manager for Mickey Callaway as he takes over for Terry Collins, who had been here for a number of years with the New York Mets. One of 5 first-year managers in Major League Baseball this year, and already the 3rd that we've seen. We'll see another one, Aaron Boone, a week from tonight in New York, and then until we see the Nationals, Dave Martinez.
Noah Syndergaard, as we showed you a little earlier in the ball game, bringing the whole arsenal. Braxton Lee lined a base hit his first time up to left on a fastball. He saw 4 consecutive changeups and sliders in that sequence against Syndergaard. Really shows you where Syndergaard's repertoire is at. I think so many people think that he comes in and throws the fastball about 70-75% of the time, high velocity. That is not always the game plan. In fact, he has got plus pitches across the board and uses them all. You see the high at 99, the low at 82, but in that situation against Lee, that was a huge tell, the confidence that he has in those secondary pitches. 4 of the 5 to Lee. First pitch fastball, and that was it.
Junichi Tezawa begins to loosen. Talise has a bat. You saw Urania on deck, and you wonder if it's more of a situational thing. That one is down low, and we'll see if Urania's night is done. And it looks like it is. With 2 on and 2 out, Tomas Talise will pinch hit.
With Noah Syndergaard on the mound, you have to take as many opportunities as you can to score. Take them all seriously. Hope that Talise in this situation can come through, but it's going to shorten the night for Urania. Outside of that rough second inning, maybe a break or 2 going his way. All in all, a pretty solid start Leadoff walk to Frazier kind of got the ball rolling in the second.
So Tomas Lee's up in a big spot here as the tying run, albeit at the bottom of the 5th inning. But scoring opportunities obviously coming few and far between against a pitcher the ilk of Noah Syndergaard. Should be Tazawa in the 6th. Just a matter of what will the score be as the first pitch to Tellez misses. A ball and no strikes. Tellez was 6 for 21 as a pinch hitter in 2017. He's 1 for 6 so far in 2018. Two balls and no strikes.
Good take. He's recognized in the bottom of the strike zone. Syndergaard trying to get the ball on the ground once again.
Hitters count upstairs 3-0 to Tomas Tellez with Derek Dietrich waiting in the wings. Called strike to Brian Holiday and then 4 straight balls, and now 3-0 to Tomas Tellez.
Borderline pitch. Syndergaard gets the call. 98. Bottom half. Strike zone.
It's amazing the movement of that pitch. It's in the zone for the whole trip to the plate, and then just catches that bottom portion of the zone. The 3-1 is upstairs, and the Marlins have the bases loaded here in the 5th.
Quality of that Tellez off the bench. It really appeared that Syndergaard was working around Holiday. Thought he'd have a shot at Urania or possibly a pinch hitter. Finds himself in some potential trouble. 0 for 1, a ground ball to the right side. Good career numbers against Noah Syndergaard. 357. 5 for 14. He's had success. It's the hard-throwing right-hander.
Does not have a home run with the bases loaded in his career.
This would be memorable.
It would be nice. I think the Marlins would take a knock too, but pretty sure they wouldn't shy away from a long ball. 5 for 14 in his career against Syndergaard. Bases loaded and 2 outs. Anderson at third reached on a 2-base error. Holiday, the runner at second, worked a walk, as did Tellez over at first.
Good take. Whew. A little extra on the slider. You talk about how you have to recognize ball out of hand. Sitting on high velocity and adjusting.
To left field and falling in front of Cespedes, who bobbles it. A run will come in to score. Holiday hung up at third. Throw goes wide of the catcher Plawecki, but a run comes in to score on the Dietrich RBI. Marlins on the board. It's now 3-1.
Tried to do too much. Drop this in front of Cespedes. A little bit of a bobble. Playing shallow in left. Cespedes very deep. Piece of hitting by Dietrich. Bring up Miguel Rojas. for 6 against Syndergaard with his base hit in the 4th inning.
Rojas also without a grand slam in his career. Of course, not noted as a home run hitter, although he did go deep off of Arrieta in yesterday afternoon's ball game. 0-1 inside. A ball and a strike.
Pitches here in the 5th as Syndergaard appears to be laboring a bit. His command has gotten a bit wayward.
Swung over the top of that one, a ball and 2 strikes.
Hard late break on that slider. She acted a little bit more like it's a curveball. This is a big spot. Rojas, very good hitter with 2 strikes.
Grounded to Rosario, flips to second, and they get Dietrich by a hair over at second base. But the Marlins on the board. They get 1 back, trail by 2 after 5. Mets on top. A pitching change for the Miami Marlins. It's the in-game jackpot as the Marlins have already led baseball 50 2/3 innings. It's your Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. They make the call to the bullpen after 5 innings of work from Jose Urena. 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned, and 4 strikeouts. Gave up the 2 runs in the 2nd, the 1 in 3rd, but lifted for a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 5th inning. And now it's Junichi Tazawa.
Tazawa, outstanding success this season. I love the 7 strikeouts. That tells you that the split finger is really working. Gave up a run his last time out in Philadelphia, but all in all, he's been very, very good in the 7 punch outs already. He's also factoring in the big slow curveball, fastball around the zone, but I'm not seeing that splitty a bit here today. Oh, by the way, that Marlins bullpen yesterday, spectacular in Philadelphia. 5 innings, no runs, 1 hit. Talked about all the innings. In a day when the Marlins needed a win on a chilly day, they were awesome. So factor in how hot the Philadelphia Phillies were. Getting that done.
Yeah. Well, a lot of innings has also led to a lot of strikeouts for this relief corps. 48 strikeouts, most in the National League, second most in the majors behind the Yankees, who have 63. 0-2 now to Cespedes. You can just hear the chains jingling out there with that Mr. T starter kit that he's got.
I don't think that's a starter kit.
Nope, that's the
legit kit.
That's the full-fledged operation right there.
He's a very special individual to carry around that kind of bling.
With a strong neck, too.
Did you get all that?
Really strong.
You got that kind of bling? Oh.
Kidding me? I got one Figaro chain, like just cliche Italian. That's what I'm wearing. That's it. But hey, you can pull it off. The Marlins will need more of the same from their relievers tonight. A ball and 2 strikes to Yoenis Cespedes. Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
Talking about the slow curveball, it has become a weapon. Junichi Suzawa. Last season, the slow breaking ball was merely a get-over pitch that you'd see at the front end of an at-bat just to keep a hitter honest, not coming at him with a straight fastball. He is using it now to get strikeouts. Great to see. Cespedes clearly sitting on something off speed, thinking split finger, big breaking ball. Well done.
Now it's Jay Bruce. RBI single back in the 3rd. Well, with the strikeout of Cespedes, Suzawa has now struck out at least one batter in all 5 of his appearances so far in 2018. See how they play Jay Bruce, swinging 3 guys around to the right side of the infield. Of course, it was Syndergaard and Urania, the 2 starters tonight. Jacob deGrom and Caleb Smith, the 2 starters tomorrow. And then in the series finale on Wednesday, Zach Wheeler goes for the New York Mets against Harlan Garcia for the Marlins. Noteworthy on both sides on Wednesday. Inside to Jay Bruce, Harlan Garcia has worked out of the bullpen 10 innings this year. He's already stretched out to become a starter, and will get his first start of 2018 in Wednesday's game. And then for Zach Wheeler, on the Mets side of things, this is going to be the first time. There's Harlan Garcia right there. This is going to be the first time that that homegrown quintet that the Mets have asked and hoped so much for, Syndergaard, deGrom, Steven Matz, Matt Harvey, and Wheeler, will have taken consecutive turns through the rotation. And it feels like we've been talking about this Mets rotation for a long time. 3-2 now to Jay Bruce.
Great equalizer from Suzawa. 3-1 split finger. Nicely done. See big pitches, big spots. It's a 3-1 ball game. Still in this. Flinging, get the offense in gear.
Todd Frazier waits on deck, but first the payoff pitch to Jay Bruce. That will bring up Todd Frazier, who walked and scored back in the 2nd inning, flew out to Cameron Maben in center in the 3rd. Todd Frazier, one of those guys that I think every clubhouse wants to get. It seems like the minute he walks into a clubhouse, he's kind of like that glue guy that walks right in. Everybody kind of rallies around him. Was that in Cincinnati?
Was that in New York with the Yankees last season?
Exactly.
I mean, he wasn't there long, but certainly I remember watching him kind of cheering from the dugout multiple times, kind of engaging his teammates. You're right. I completely agree. Not to mention the fact he's hit 25 home runs in 4 seasons straight.
Yeah, the production helps, but one of the things too that really set him apart and showed that much more publicly than the fans maybe sometimes see was after there was what's the right word, mishandling in the postseason. Yankees and Indians, Joe Girardi and his staff decided not to challenge a call. Yankees ended up losing the game, and right after that game, Todd Frazier said, no, that's on us. We were the ones that lost the lead. The Yankees had a lead at the time, and Indians came back to win the game. The Yankees ended up fighting back to win that series. Now the New York Mets have him as still await the return, hoping for the best, but really no true timetable on the return of their captain, their franchise player, David Wright. Jay Bruce off of first after the walk, as Frazier awaits a 1-2 from Tazawa. Fouls it back, still 1-2.
And you see the effectiveness. That's a pretty good example with 2 strikes of Tazawa's split finger fastball. That was a mistake. That's a fastball down the middle of the plate, thigh high. Todd Frazier late fighting it off as he tries to slow his swing down to defend the splitting.
What's your pitch call here?
Well, you just saw it.
Oh, yeah, like I've got the Marlins signs.
It's only a runner on first base.
That one is caught by Dietrich. Had to deal with the lights. And able to make the catch for out number 2. In fairness, that thought was coming out before I saw the call.
Well, nice job by Dietrich. You're absolutely right. The lights right about where Derek makes this catch can be difficult in just about every ballpark. They kind of catch an outfielder, particularly the corner guys. I want to say about traditional left field or right field. That's usually where those bank of lights really are, and Dietrich tried his best to keep the ball above it. See Todd Frazier frustrated.
That's the catch of the day, brought to you by Bonefish Grill, and a big out number 2 as Asdrubal Cabrera will step up to the plate as they check on Bruce over at first. A base hit and run scored in the second inning for Cabrera, grounded out to start things in the 4th. He has seen Tazawa pretty well in his career.
And he's hot. Expect Tazawa to be careful. The Mets not a threat to run. Speaking collectively here, not just about Jay Bruce. Only 3 stolen bases on the season.
To left field, Dietrich. Out number 3. Tazawa works around the 1-out walk and keeps this at a 3-1 deficit for the last of the 6th. Little work to do for the Marlins, down 3-1 going to the bottom of the 6th inning, but they've got the heart of the order coming up. Starlin Castro, Justin Bour, and Brian Anderson against Noah Syndergaard, who to this point has been impressive. He's worked out of a couple of jams along the way. 4 strikeouts through 5 innings. The run unearned, and the 3 hits allowed. It was against Starlin Castro that he was able to wiggle out of one of those jams back in the 4th inning. The Marlins had 2 on and nobody out. Castro grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. And then Syndergaard got bored, a ground out, inning and threat over. Castro, a base hit into left field. It's another knock for Starlin Castro. He just keeps chugging.
Hit it out of the park with a family-friendly deal on Sunday, April 15th, when the Marlins take on the Pirates at 1 p.m. Pick up the Aquafina Family 4-pack and score 4 tickets, 4 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs, 4 Pepsi soft drinks, or Aquafina waters, starting at just $84. Get your tickets at marlins.com/offers. Starlin Castro now a 15-game hitting streak at Marlins Park.
Reached base safely in all 10 games so far this season. Now it's up to Justin Bour.
Well, it's been impressive with Starlin is the in-game adjustments. We sequenced Starlin early in this ball game, saw everything from Syndergaard. It's a couple of off-speed pitches and the line's 1 to left to start the 6th inning.
So Justin Bour is 6 for 35 on the season. What are you seeing from him right now? Is he caught in between?
Good way of saying it. He's just a little bit in between. Last pitch, pretty good example of that. Take. He's at time, put together some good at bats. I think it's coming. Slow April last season really exploded in May. 11 home runs. I'm not merely saying it because that's what he's anticipating happening. Much rather be ripping the cover off the ball here in April. It's just sometimes you get caught in between. It's been a really good arsenal of starters that the Marlins have run across to start the season. Noah Syndergaard, Jake Arrieta, Chris Sale, Cubs series. You saw everybody there. You, Darvish, everybody. I mean, it's just sometimes it's challenging, and I think for Justin Bour right now, and he's getting it. He's getting everything. He's in a different role with this team right now. It'll come. It will come. Let's put together some good at-bats in some big spots. I think back to the Chris Sale game, he had a couple really nice at-bats, including a double to left center field. It's really, when you look at his numbers, it's just the consistency. He hasn't, I think Marlins fans remember late last year, he was going, it felt like 2 for 3, 2 for 4 every day with a double or a homer. He'll get there. Doing a good job battling Syndergaard. Syndergaard's convinced he's going to get him out with his changeup. Swung at that for strike 2, went right back to it. 3-2. JB gets on the fastball consistently. He'll be just fine.
Everything's been low and away in this at-bat. Where will Syndergaard go on 3-2? Low and in for his 5th strikeout. Let's go downstairs to Craig Minervini.
Thank you, Paul. The Marlins early in the season, especially with the injuries to key players like Martin Prado and the JTs, Riddle and Remuto, are relying on rookies like Brian Anderson, and it's showing up statistically around the big leagues for hits. The Marlins lead major leagues with 22 hits from the rookies, and Anderson's head of the pack with 10. The Mets are one of 11 teams with no hits yet from their rookies.
Craig, thanks so much. Yeah, Brian Anderson has been very, very impressive as he takes outside right there. Came into this game tied with Colin Moran for the most hits with 10, RBIs with 8 among rookies, and tied with Jesse Winker for the most walks. Castro on the move. Throw down to second base. Not in time. It's a stolen base for Starlin Castro.
Great jump by Starlin Castro. Noah Syndergaard slow to home plate. Yeah, he's got lots of velocity, but he's also got a high leg kick. Slow a while to get rid of the baseball. You'll see it. Good 3 or 4 steps for Starlin Castro. The pitch is on its way, head for a slide. Marlins now have a runner in scoring position.
Mets wanted to take a quick peek at that just to see if Starlin Castro slid over the bag, whether or not Cabrera applied the tag, but Castro kept toe on second base, so he's in with his first swipe bag of 2018. A 2-0 on the way to Brian Anderson. And he rips this one into left field, a base hit. Castro will score. Anderson into second base with an RBI double. The Marlins are back to within a run.
Brian Anderson, the Marlins RBI machine in the early going. Time and time again, we have seen him clutch up and come through. Well done. Delivers on the fastball, head down, drives it into the left field corner. Really nice swing. We talk about in-game adjustments. Syndergaard had his number first couple of at-bats. The slow rollers down in the zone. Jump on that fastball up. Fourth double on the season, and now into scoring position for Cameron Maben.
Tying run in scoring position as Maben takes a called strike. And so Robles loosens for the Mets. We've talked so much in these first couple of weeks about the approach of Brian Anderson. He got a big hit yesterday late in the ball game, kind of went out, got one, kind of flicked it out into right center field. And it looked on the replay that with 2 strikes, he might have been choking up a little bit. So I asked him about that before the game. I said, I haven't really noticed your 2-strike approach. Do you typically choke up? And he said, I kind of do it without even thinking about it sometimes when I don't want to strike out. We've seen guys like Anthony Rizzo, Joey Votto, they take like almost an extra hand's worth to choke up. Brian Anderson said sometimes it's just about a finger's worth. Anderson will head to third on this ground ball to short. Maben retired, but the tying run now 90 feet away.
Did you say when he doesn't want to strike out?
Yeah, believe it or not, right?
That's a new phrase. That's just me kidding. In an age where I look at strikeouts a lot differently, but I talk about it all the time, even with the young kids. You gotta want to put the ball in play, have a productive out, even with 2 strikes in the situation. Keep the line moving. I like it. See him choke up there, and a number of times, as we've documented throughout the season, he has come through already. Back to you mentioned it, the double yesterday, and choked up about a good inch on the bottom of the bat. Just a little chop swing. Kind of reminded me of Chase Utley, how he swings the bat, almost traditionally, but just almost a half a swing, strong enough to drive it into right center field for a double.
Braxton Lee may have broken his bat. Ground ball to short. It's Rosario over to first for out number 3, but Anderson drives one in with the RBI double. Mets up 3-2 after 6. now 3-2 after Brian Anderson drove in another run for the Marlins. An RBI double to close the gap to 3-2 as we go to the 7th inning. Another look at this run-scoring swing.
Oh, it's so much fun to watch this young man's game approach from at bat to at bat. So many times we've seen him stay inside the ball, go the other way. Right there, he's going to get a fastball in the situation. He directs it, pulls it down the left field line. I'm telling you, he's been hard for the opposing pitcher to figure out. I've seen multiple patterns of game planning going on against Anderson, which is a testament to his approach. We've talked about a few of the Marlins hitters, some of the younger hitters, and they don't have, you know, remember Brian Anderson was here last year, so he got some playing time, 25 games in September, that have, you know, you start to pick up on the patterns of how the pitching's going at them, and kind of waiting for the young men to kind of figure out those patterns and put together their approach. For Anderson, we've seen his stance and his approach stay quite the same in the early going, because he has stayed with his game plan and he has not really proven that there's holes in his swing. It's good stuff. I'm surprised he's among the league leaders in some of these categories.
A 1-1 to Adrian Gonzalez. That one bounces all the way through the backstop. Time now for our Toyota Inside Look. First Mets home run, a grand slam. Adrian Gonzalez joined that list with the grand slam last night as the Mets won their 5th consecutive ball game, finishing off the sweep of the Washington Nationals.
Third appearance for Tazawa. She has gone past an inning.
Ball 4 to Agon. Leadoff man on here in the 7th inning as Kyle Bearclaw loosens for the Marlins. I was just looking up the contact percentage for Brian Anderson. Talk about a guy who just doesn't want to strike out. Now this year, again, small sample size, I get it. We're only in the, not even in the 2nd full week of the season. His contact percentage this year is 81.4%. I mean, listen, I know we watch this guy every day and all that stuff, but that's the kind of player that's entertaining. Like, it's nice to see the high strikeout numbers and everything else. You know, Max Scherzer's got 12 and Noah Syndergaard's got 15 and all this other stuff. It's nice every once in a while.
Well, he's my ringing example of defend the strike zone. I know you hear me use the phrase and how great hitters hit. Well, listen, they don't just cover the strike zone and then some and get hits on all these difficult pitches that this elite pitching that at the major league level throws. What they do is they defend the strike zone particularly well. And we've watched Anderson do that this season. How many times have we seen him choke up, foul off 2 or 3 tough sliders before you see the hanging slider or the mistake or the fastball to the inside part of the plate that he swings at because he laid off 2 fastballs that were farther inside? Having that discipline, being able to defend the strike zone and earn your strikes, then comes through. Explains what he does.
0-2 to Kevin Plawecki.
Listen, Tony Gwynn was an elite hitter. He was the only that I ever saw could cover the entire strike zone and then some. And we played in a different day and age. I mean, Tony wasn't hitting 25, 30 home runs a season, but Tony was hitting 330, 340, 350 every season. He could do that. I'm seeing some similarities the way he covers the plate. Remember, we mentioned him already. Marlins' schedule in the early going is no joke. We've done Chris Sale, 4 of the 5 starters from the Chicago Cubs.
Right.
Jake Arrieta now pitches for the Phillies. They saw him this week, and now you've got Noah Syndergaard.
And tomorrow's DeGrom.
Well, right.
The day after's Wheeler. Yeah, it doesn't get easier.
Well, this is big league baseball, so
right.
I mean, part of that is, hey, listen, welcome to the big leagues. But he's coming through. He's succeeding. He's producing.
One ball, 2 strikes to Plawecki, who stays alive. Still 1-2. Plawecki grounded into a double play in the 2nd inning that brought home a run. Also grounded out in the 4th.
Zawa looking for a third ground ball off the bat of Plawecki. Gonzalez, no threat to run. Justin Moore kind of sort of hold them on at first base. A couple of steps in front of the bag.
Two and two. Yeah, I guess, you know, whatever happens with Brian Anderson in his career, I will find out. We'll check back in with you 10 years from now. And you're just trying to think of like guys who put the bat on the ball, who have that three.
You know who he reminds me of? Is that what you're getting at?
Well,
I'll answer your question.
go
right
ahead.
now. Scott Rowland.
Okay.
That's Scott Rowland's offensive approach. I watched it for years. I competed against Scott. Split finger fastball. That ball either gets hit into the ground or you pick up the strikeout. The second one. See it one more time. Beautiful split finger. Watch it. Tumbling action as it crosses home plate. Holiday down to 2 knees. Keep that in front. Out here in the seventh. Yeah, Scott Rowland. I mean, the more I watch him, and of course they played the same position, and that's some high praise for a young man who's got about, he's creeping up on 40 big league ball games. But yeah, I'm really getting at the offensive approach of things. Scott would choke up, put the ball in play, hit for doubles, hit for some power. I mean, just a complete player for a third baseman, and I do see the similarities.
The day is going to be done for Noah Syndergaard as Brandon Nimmo is out in the on-deck circle or out in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. But we'll see if there's another change to be made after that, as Don Mattingly is going to go to the pen and make a double switch. We'll tie up all the loose ends when we come back. It's time for a Florida lottery call to the bullpen here in Miami. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by the Florida Lottery. It's good to have options. That's why the Florida Lottery has over 70 unique scratch-off games. So add a little play to your day with these new games. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. So Lewis Brinson comes in as part of the double switch. He goes out to center field. That moves Cameron Maben over to right field. And the new pitcher is Kyle Bearclaw.
Bearclaw making his fourth appearance. It's been a while. Last pitched in the Boston series, April 3rd, so he's had a few days off. I see him get up in the bullpen a few times in Philadelphia. Big spot here, 5 Ks, 3 innings, good stuff, and good results against the Mets in his career. 22 games, 2.82 ERA.
So the pinch hitter is Brandon Nimmo, who has slotted into that pinch hit role pretty well for the New York Mets. In his career, 12 for 29. That's a .414 batting average. his career as a pinch hitter, and he gets on base at a .528 clip in this particular role. So with Cespedes and Fordo and Bruce out there in the outfield, Nimmo more of a fourth outfielder pinch hitter type. Fouls that one off, and it's 1-1. He said that it kind of plays to his strengths, and certainly the numbers would attest to that. Nice weapon off the bench for first-year manager Mickey Callaway. Adrian Gonzalez is the runner on first. He walked. Kevin Plawecki struck out. And Bearclaw came in relief of Tazawa. That one is chopped foul. It's a mindset, isn't it? It's a pinch hit.
It's a readiness. It's a, you have to prepare yourself to pinch hit. Kind of one thing when I went through few runs of success in pinch hitting, and I spent the last 4 or 5 years of my career doing it, it was all about preparation. Now, I probably should have prepared a little harder in years 11 and 12 than I did in years 8, 9, and 10. I was pretty good about it, getting up in that 5th inning, stretching, starting to swing a bat, and just getting in the flow of the game. To me, that was always the key, and always being ready to hit. Good first pitch fastball guys so you usually find out they're good hitters too. Usually contending with the tough arms in a bullpen. You have to be able to hit velocity.
Didn't go.
A good try by Bearclaw. Great depth over home plate. Not fishing.
Agon not running. Nice backhand play by Bohr, but he throws it into left field, and Adrian Gonzalez will head to third. Here's the throw from left field, and he's in there safely. Looked like Bohr might have rushed the throw, wanting to get back to complete the double play. Just out of the reach of Rojas, and now it's first and third and 1 out.
This throw is going to sail on him. Does a nice job of getting himself into position. You see the readiness, goes to the backhand. It does square his shoulders. It's just that, yeah, literally just airmailed it up over the head. A little too high. As a first baseman, a lot of times you want to go with the shorter throw, and you're inside 90 feet right there. Justin Bohr did everything right except keep the throw down.
So now first and third and 1 out for Ahmed Rosario, who doubled and scored back in the 3rd inning. Still a pitch away from getting out of this jam.
It'll be quick. Rosario can run.
Robles again. Figures to come out for the bottom of the 7th inning after the double switch took Syndergaard out of this ball game. To the Mets shortstop. Loops one over the head of Rojas. Adrian Gonzalez will score. The throw to third. Not in time, and advancing to second on that throw is Rosario. It's 4-2 Mets.
Rosario comes up. His second big hit in this game. Ringing double in the 3rd, came around to score. Able to go down into the zone and get the slider off Bearclaw just enough as he dunks it into left field. Nimmo runs well. Dietrich tried to be aggressive. Probably want to back that throw up into second base so that you can keep the double play in order. No shot at Nimmo at third.
Second and third, one out. 3 men on the right side of the infield. Michael Conforto takes low and away. The infield in, trying to cut off these insurance runs for the Mets. Leadoff walks in this ball game as Jose Urania led off the second inning by issuing a free pass to Todd Frazier. In the 7th, Tezawa walked Gonzalez. Both of those have come around to score.
That's been a common theme over the last few ball games for this Marlins staff. Raved about the number of innings bullpens worked and some of the good production. That is one area in which the Marlins can certainly improve. I mentioned it was a couple of games ago in Philly, in which they walked 6. All 6 runs scored. In fact, it was the Saturday night game. They walked 9. It was opening day, so they had 15 going into Sunday's game. Again, you see what leadoff walks will do. They'll come back and they will haunt you.
That one's upstairs, and the bases are loaded for Yoenis Cespedes.
I really believe that intentional, unintentional walk to Conforto. 4 pitches around the strike zone. Walk loads the bases, creates a force at any base. Brings up Cespedes.
It also brings out Juan Nieves.
5 grand slams in his career for Cespedes.
Again, Bearclaw has not pitched since, or had not pitched before coming into this game since April 3rd, when he worked an inning against Boston. Came on with 1 on and 1 out here in the 7th. He has struck out Cespedes 4 times in 7 at-bats. Boy, could he use one here. That one's low. Take a ground ball too, though.
Now you're trying to get Cespedes to expand his strike zone. He's done it a few different times today. That's what you'd love to see him do. But when you see 5 grand slams, that's somebody who's typically in control of the emotion that comes along with the bases loaded. Nice pitch by Bearclaw as he goes to the slider. It took me a while to learn this. I ended up with a couple of grand slams in my life, but just understanding the situation as a hitter, you get so excited to hit. You got 3 runners on base. You're like, okay, I can blow this game right open if I do what I do and he gives me what I can handle. Typically, you'll have some hitters who are over aggressive in these situations. You've got other hitters who are patient and kind of allow the moment to develop. The evidence on Cespedes is that he is a tough out with the bases loaded. A good challenge for Bearclaw as he tries to induce the ground ball.
Balls and 2 strikes. Cespedes has already struck out twice in this ball game, once in the 3rd, once in the 6th.
Here's where you'd love to see Cespedes expand. Bearclaw dial in his pitch. Just off the corner. Hopefully get the weak contact that you're looking for.
chase that one, and the count runs full, and there is nowhere to put Yoenis Cespedes. Nimmo at third, Rosario at second, and Conforto at first. Marlins need to keep this at a 2-run deficit, as the Mets bullpen has been stellar as of late and throughout the first week and a half of this season. Did he go? Found it off. 3-2.
Forcing fastball for Bearclaw. Below the knees, Cespedes willing to expand. Knows he needs to protect. There is 2 strikes. Too close to take. A great spot. Bearclaw's slider. See what he does.
Got him swinging for out number 2. A big strikeout for Kyle Bearclaw.
How about it? Not the slider, no, not the fastball. Yes, indeed, the changeup. Kyle Bearclaw, how about it? Bringing it out. Dive bombing the strike zone. Cespedes willing to expand out on his front side. Huge out here in the 7th.
But it doesn't get any easier. Here's Jay Bruce. Bruce had an RBI single in the 3rd. That at the time gave the Mets a 3-0 lead. Mets scored 2 in the 2nd, that run in the 3rd. Marlins scored 1 in the bottom of the 5th and the bottom of the 6th. But the Mets have come right back and scored in the top of the 7th inning. One and one.
This is surprising, both Cespedes and Bruce, the willingness of Kyle Bearclaw to use his changeup in key spots in this ballgame. Bruce, they sitting on the fastball on that 1-0 pitch, fooled. This was Cespedes. Some big time pitches, some big time spots.
Nice block there by Holiday as Nimmo goes back to 3rd. Cespedes looks on after he was unable to come through. Struck out for the 3rd time tonight. Bearclaw's got to get through Bruce here in the 7th.
Oh, wow. Does it again. 3 changeups, 2 in this sequencing to Bruce. 87 miles an hour. Look at the tumbling action as it falls below the knees. This is adding a legit changeup to the arsenal of Kyle Bearclaw, and Mets hitters not aware of it. How about it?
Another nice block by Holiday. Well, you got a guy back there that's going to just lay out the way that Holiday is. That gives confidence to so many more pitches for Bearclaw.
Nice job. Did a nice job with Tozawa. Kyle certainly does the same thing. He will bounce a slider. Changeup is dive bombing the low zone. Might be a bad spot to go up top.
Reynolds will get a head start. The pitch is in there for a called strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kyle Bearclaw. Mets leave the bases loaded, but push across one more. They lead it 4-2. but it could have been so much more if not for back-to-back strikeouts with the bases loaded of Yoenis Cespedes and Jay Bruce.
Awesome sequencing, Kyle Barraclough. Great to see. Great use of the changeup. Obviously, the fastball at the knees locks Bruce up. You say it time and time again. After swinging through 2 changeups, Jay Bruce 3-2. He saw the willingness to throw the changeup to Cespedes 3-2. Got to keep that in the back of your mind as a hitter. 95 at the knees, low zone for strike 3. I bet it looked like about 99 after those changeups.
Well, whatever it was, it looked good. Let's go downstairs to Craig Minervini.
Paul, what else looks good for the Marlins is some of the return from the injury. Not imminent, not the next few days, but some good news. Pitching front, Dan Straley will throw a bullpen here tomorrow, and then he's going to have extended spring training or rehab start, so he's closing in. Wei-Yin Chen, pleasant surprise, according to Don Mattingly. He'll have a bullpen tomorrow in Jupiter, then extended spring for him a few days later. Martin Prado played today, 3 innings of extended spring, day off tomorrow, back at it in 2 days. And JT Realmuto is chomping at the bit, according to the skipper, to get back in there. Realmuto is doing his catching drills, hitting, throwing in Jupiter, and hopefully we'll see him before long. The only news that we got that went backwards a little bit, Garrett Cooper, they're going to put a cast on that right wrist and keep him immobilized for a week or so before they get another look, guys.
Craig, thanks so much. Yeah, a lot of good news, of course, Cooper aside. A lot of good news that guys are progressing to get back to about as close to 100% as you can get. Hansel Robles takes over for Noah Syndergaard. Brian Holliday squares, pulls it back to take strike 1. Holliday, and then it will be Lewis Brinson, part of that double switch, and then back to the top of the lineup with Derek Dietrich.
Fastball, slider, occasional change from Robles. Don't see it too often. Pretty much see the octane. He's doing it about 80% of the time. 3 innings, 7 strikeouts. The early going.
Yeah, I was sitting around Don Mattingly as he met with the media today, and Craig nailed it. He had said that JT Realmuto is chomping at the bit to get back. I know that it was, frustrating for Marlins fans for sure, as Holliday skies one out to right field. Bruce for out number 1. Again, frustrating. We talked about it the last week and a half about wanting to take it slow, and that's why you don't rush the guy back for opening day. But he's been doing the catching drills. He's starting to hit. He's feeling great, and that is going to be a big bat in this Marlins lineup when Realmuto gets back.
Dynamic the Marlins don't possess. JT is a unique player. Best young catchers in the game of baseball. Talented young hitter. Watching the power develop. Saw it last season. Obviously the extra base threat. He's an everyday guy. Chopper to the left side. He is in that top 5 for me in the National League. Top 5 catchers in the National League for sure.
Well, it's interesting. Just doing a little homework on the Mets. You look at a guy like Travis d'Arnaud, for example. He didn't get the start in tonight's ball game, but the knock on him has always been, can he stay healthy? So just tried to kind of compare what d'Arnaud has done to what Realmuto has done. The last 3 years, Realmuto has played in 126, 137, and 141. I mean, that's like Molina territory in terms of playing every day. So obviously, if you're playing every day, you're productive, because he's a lot more than just a game manager. I think we all know that with Realmuto. So again, no official timetable for when he'll be back, but progressing, feeling great, and wanting to get back sooner rather than later. All the way off the bat of Dietrich, a ball and 2 strikes. Drusimer Despaigne. Looks like he might get the 8th. Robles got the win last night against Washington. Check that Saturday against Washington. Mets played a 12-inning affair last night. The national game on Sunday night. Game didn't end until about 12:30. They didn't get to the hotel until about 5:15 as Dietrich stays alive. But Mickey Callaway and his Mets playing some terrific baseball to begin the 2018 season and his first year as their manager. 7-1 to start. They've won 5 straight. And they have a 2-run lead here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Dietrich doing a nice job fighting off the fastballs from Robles. Put him away at the top of the zone. Dietrich get a piece the last couple of pitches. Certainly a deep ball threat from Dietrich. RBI base hit off Syndergaard earlier this evening.
Together a heck of an at-bat. Next one will be the 9th pitch.
Now Robles is a little bit more predictable. When you talk about sequencing and what we're seeing from pitchers in the game today, you look at Robles, and when it's, you know, he's already throwing fastballs 80% of the time.
A base hit into right field for Derek Dietrich. His second hit of this ball game. So 1 on and 2 out. It's time for, I can't say it right,
Showstopper.
All right, Max Scherzer. Look at the speedster. Off and running, he gets the stolen base. But you know what? Not the most impressive thing that he did tonight. With all due respect to his speed game. Look at him. Look at that. My goodness.
Got a little shuffle step there at first base. You don't see that too often.
10 strikeouts in a complete game. The 4th complete game thrown this year.
It's pretty good.
He's all right. That's what I've heard.
I was talking about on the bases.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. Barrios, Kluber, Tyone, and now Max Scherzer. Inside to Miguel Rojas. Of course, the Nationals played deep into the night last night as well with these Mets, but of course they stayed home. So it's not the same travel the Mets had, although no ill effects. Rojas into center field, a base hit. Back-to-back hits off of Hansel Robles, and the Marlins have 2 on and 2 out here in the 7th inning.
Second hit of the ball game for Rojas. Nice job staying inside. Fastball from Robles. Change up there, fastball to follow the change up, and line drive into center field. Dietrich moves up. Fair to say, Marlins, one of the Marlins' hottest hitters. Well, let me say this. Marlins' hottest hitter here at Marlins Park to the plate in Starlin Castro.
And they could certainly use another one right here.
You know, we talk about capitalizing on opportunities. Marlins only 16 extra base hits this season. It's the fewest in the National League. They have to capitalize on the base runners when they've got them, even with 2 outs.
Hitting an even 300 on the season. Castro fouls that one away. He's also been sitting on 99 career home runs since the start of the season. Singled, stole a base, and scored in the 6th inning. Swings and misses to end the 7th inning. 4-2 as we go to the 8th here in Miami. Let's recap the night for you to this point. 2nd inning against Jose Urena. It's Adrian Gonzalez coming through with an RBI single to bring home Todd Frazier. Moments later, Kevin Plawecki with the 5-4-3 double play, but a run comes in to score. No RBI in the play, but the Mets only care about their 2-0 lead. They would stretch to 3-0 when Jay Bruce would single in inning number 3. But in the 5th, the Marlins came back. Derek Dietrich with a base hit off of Noah Syndergaard. That brought home Brian Anderson. Then in the 6th inning, Anderson drives home a run himself with this double off of Thor into left field. So that got the Marlins back to within a run. But in the 7th, Ahmed Rosario goes out, pokes this one into shallow left center field. A 4-2 lead as Adrian Gonzalez comes in to score. And that is where we stand right now. 4th pitcher of the night for the Marlins. Odrisamer Despaigne comes in out of the bullpen. He'll face Todd Frazier, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Adrian Gonzalez, and try to keep this at a 2-run deficit here in the 8th inning.
Earned his 2nd win in relief yesterday. A couple of innings in Philadelphia. Fastball, cutter, curveball change. This is what manager Don Mattingly loves about Despaigne coming out of the bullpen. A little bit of an opportunity earlier. He's already made a start this season. Is the fact that he pitched 2 innings yesterday and he can come back today. Falls behind 3-0 to Frazier.
Well, that's what teams want a lot of, right? We always hear the word versatility, guys that can play in multiple positions. But a guy like Despaigne means so much to this pitching staff, because as we've talked a lot about, there's going to be, might as well hand out name tags this year. Like, there's going to be a lot of different guys that come up and throw pitches for Juan Nieves and Don Mattingly throughout the season. Well, guys that come out of the bullpen, guys that start, guys that do a little bit of both, long men, spot starts, whatever it is, and Despaigne fits that bill.
Well, he swings the bat too. Referencing the base hit he got in Philadelphia. Line drive to right. Leadoff walk to Todd Frazier. And he can do a lot of things. He can just pitch. He can pinch hit too if you need him to.
Yeah, why not? Pitch the 17th inning of a ball game that you win, and then come back about 15 hours later and start the game for you. He doesn't care.
Let's hope this leadoff walk doesn't cause trouble for the Marlins. 2 leadoff walks tonight have led to runs. Cabrera 1 for 3.
Urania went the first 5, gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. He walked 1, struck out 4. Junichi Tsuzawa went an inning and a third. Didn't give up any hits, but he walked 2, and a run came in to score, an unearned run, that is. He also struck out a pair. Kyle Bearclaw, 2 strikeouts, 2 big strikeouts. But the run that was charged to Tsuzawa was when Bearclaw was on the hill. Now it's Despagne. Marlins snapped their 4-game losing streak with a win yesterday. A big win, a bounce back after the tough loss on Saturday night. They were out early against Jake Arrieta and the Phillies. Got a lot of credit from their skipper today about bouncing back. Now it's about putting some wins together for this Marlins team. But here they are in the 8th, down a couple against a tough Mets bullpen. Foul. Drupal Cabrera, a guy for the New York Mets, has really cut down on his strikeouts. Last year, the strikeouts went down, the walks went up.
He's a bit of a different hitter. Hit for a little bit more power. In fact, he sacrificed some of that power last season. If you look at those numbers for that on-base percentage, but again, that's the theory. You watch hitters today. Are you sacrificing power by letting the ball travel a little bit more, cutting down on those strikeouts, minimizing your swing with 2 strikes, looking to put the ball in play? Again, some people will argue in both of those directions. Stay down at the end of the bat, wait for a mistake, foul him off, and swing for the fences a little bit more, or do you shorten up and try and put the ball in play?
And how much of that is just maturing as a hitter?
Well, and I think you also have to recognize your team, and I think he's doing a good job of that. Last year, you look at what the Mets were with all the injuries, and he was one of the few players that played every day. I thought he was much more valuable in that capacity because they needed for him to be on base.
Out to left field in his tracks is Derek Dietrich for out number 1. Bring up Adrian Gonzalez, who had that RBI single back in the 2nd to get the scoring started. Also walked and scored in the 7th. And we talk about professional hitters. The guy stepping to the plate right now is certainly one of those guys.
Power to all fields.
I know the lefty swing always gets love. Like even the ugly lefty swings are still pretty. Ken Griffey Jr., that one is iconic. Carlos Gonzalez with the Rockies, that's another one of those swings that, I particularly love. But Adrian Gonzalez has one of those smooth swings. Robinson Cano's in that list too.
Harold Baines.
Yeah.
Adrian Gonzalez is one of the few lefties.
He's here. Griff is here.
No, that's not Griff.
Okay.
He's up in Orlando.
Gotcha.
Stands a little bit farther off the plate than most traditional lefties. Lefties like to kind of hug that corner, especially against the righties. Get up in there.
Right to Bohr, who steps on the bag. The double play. Hit it on the money, both off the bat and to the first baseman, Bohr. So we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Really nothing Frazier could do right there. 1, 2, 4-2. Marlins, the second one tomorrow night is Jacob deGrom and Caleb Smith, as the New York Mets just keep churning out these all-star caliber starting pitchers. Meanwhile, Caleb Smith is going to try to bounce back from his start against Philadelphia Phillies, where again it was bitterly cold, and he admitted after the game that he just had a tough time getting a grip on the baseball. And you see the 9 walks on the season for Caleb Smith. He had 6 walks in that outing alone. Just a bitterly cold day. Won't be that tomorrow. That much we can guarantee. Jerry Blevins takes over for the New York Mets, their third pitcher tonight. After 6 strong from Noah Syndergaard, he struck out 5 along the way. Hansel Robles worked the 7th inning, gave up a couple of hits, but protected the lead, and now it's Blevins who delivers a strike to Justin Bour.
I anticipate the appearance by Blevins to be a short one. He's yet to work an inning this season. This is his 6th appearance, comes in and gets lefties out. That's what he does.
Popped up. Frazier underneath it on the left side. 1 out. And that is going to do it for Jerry Blevins.
Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allows you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
A pitching change. Our old pal, A.J. Ramos. Florida Lottery going to the pen. 4-2. Two Marlins trailing here in the bottom of the 8th inning. A.J. Ramos, the former Marlin, takes over. 5 games this year. He has been nearly perfect. Just haven't given up any runs to this point. He'll face Brian Anderson right now with 1 out, nobody aboard.
Only the 1 hit. Any pitch, any time from Ramos. You see the big breaking ball. You'll see the slider, the fastball. It's going to move it around the strike zone. 92 saves in his Marlins career. 2012 through 2017, 325 games. 27 saves last season between the Mets and the Marlins, 7th most in the National League.
And a big part of this Mets bullpen, which has been stellar to begin the 2018 season, came into this ball game giving up 2 runs in the last 24 innings pitched. Overall, a 1.31 bullpen ERA, second best in Major League Baseball, and they have continued that tonight.
160 batting average against. That to me is what gets your attention. You're right. I mean, the earned run average certainly kind of brings it all together and tells you how good they've been. But when your hitters are hitting 160, you're not doing much.
Blaze worked an inning after Syndergaard gave up a couple of hits. Blevins threw 3 pitches to retire Justin Bour. And now Ramos will try to keep the line moving for the Mets. Meanwhile, Brian Anderson will try to start a rally for the Marlins. Takes upstairs and draws the 1-out walk.
And once again, professional at bat for Brian Anderson. Will get the tying run to home plate. Form of Cameron Maben.
Maben got the start in center field tonight, has since slid over to right field after a double switch. Made some solid contact early on in the 2018 season. Use some right here. Off of first is Anderson, and a called strike. Maben struck out in the second, flew out in the fifth, and grounded out in the sixth.
We've seen Maben go the other way. He does have a hole to the right side. Ramos doubling up with the breaking ball. Maben will lay off the 0-2 pitch.
Maben out toward right center field. It's going to be Bruce for the second out. That's the thing. You figure, well, weather the storm. We got Syndergaard out after 6 innings. And, you know, he was good. He wasn't great. He set a high bar, and I guess that's why I say he wasn't great. He was still very good. 5 strikeouts in 6 innings and 1 run. Figure, okay, that's all right. Now we can get to the bullpen. The only problem is for the Marlins is that the Mets bullpen has been so good. As Yadiel Rivera down the right field side in foul ground, it's Adrian Gonzalez to put it away. Pair the starting rotation with the bullpen. That's why people like the Mets this year. Up 4-2 after 8. Severino and Todd Hollinsworth with you up here in the booth after the game. Stay tuned for our Marlins Live post-game show presented by WB Mason. You see Nelly out there getting set, getting his game face on. Greg Minervini waiting as well. We'll hear from Don Mattingly after the opener of this 3-game set against the New York Mets. pitcher for the Marlins, their 5th of the night, as Tyron Guerrero comes in to pitch.
It's always fun to watch the big arm of Tyron Guerrero. He said a couple of rough patches. He's missed out over the plate a few different times, but it is always fun to see the young man dial it up. 5 1/3 innings, 9 punch-outs already. He has shown the ability to overpower hitters. Just has to kind of hone in where the fastball command is. Seems to live on the corners a little bit more. We'll get even better results.
Last saw him a couple of days ago in Philadelphia. Pitched twice in that series. A combined 2 innings. Combined 4 hits, 2 runs. He gets Plawecki. It's like Jose Reyes out in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. And then Ahmed Rosario. Triple digits right there. 100 miles an hour.
He's got that in the tank. He's just got to get it in the strike zone.
In on the hands, and it's Castro. 1 away. So it will be Jose Reyes here in the 9th inning. As Reyes gets a hand, of course, a guy who spent a little bit of time with the Marlins. Signed a 6-year, $106 million deal back in December of 2011. A couple of stops since his time here in South Florida as he takes low 99 miles an hour, just below the zone. 1-0.
You know, has not received nearly as much playing time this season. Well, it's still early, as he did last season. He was playing in a regular clip. We're a .324 hitter, 95 games at Marlins Park, so success here.
Yeah, he and Cabrera, to your point, the only 2 position players who played 115 or more games last year. To Anderson on the backhand, long throw, got him. Nice play by Brian Anderson at third. That right there is our Coors Light refreshing finish.
Well, you ask any any third baseman, what surprises you more? It's a lefty who stays inside the ball and comes down the third base line. Nice job getting over. It's the big hop, but that's what he's showcasing. With Reyes hustling down the line, the strong throw from behind the third base bag. There's another comparison to Scott Rolen.
Solid point. 100 past the swing of Rosario. A lot to like about that young man over there at third. .14-mile-an-hour difference there as Jerry's Familia loosens for the Mets. Rosario doubled and scored in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th, and had an RBI single in the 7th. Big insurance run for the New York Mets. On 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. A 1-2-3 9th inning for Guerrero. Marlins, a little work to do. Down 4-2 against Familia in the 9th. Is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Kubota. For information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to gokubota.com. And by your South Florida Honda dealer. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth back with you for the bottom of the 9th inning. Marlins trail this one 4-2. They'll have Brian Holiday, Lewis Brinson, and then the top of the lineup, Derek Dietrich, due up against Jeurys Familia, who is in his 6th game. He's worked 6 scoreless innings so far for the New York Mets.
Well, 4 for 4 in save opportunities. Familia looks like he's back. Yeah, that's right. The Jeurys Familia that dominates lineups, gets lots of ground balls, about 2.5 ground balls to fly balls throughout his career. Very much the same. Fastball dominates the way, averages 96 miles an hour. Throws about 75% of the time. Good slider to go along with it. Occasional split finger. There's the tailing action that is very common in Familia fastball.
Inside yet again to Brian Holiday, who flew out in the 3rd, walked in the 5th, and flew out in the 7th inning. Ahead 2-0. Takes a called strike. 7th year for Familia. His 2017 season cut short. He's dealing with a blood clot.
Scary stuff.
Nice to see him back out on a major league mound. Ground ball up the middle past Rosario, and Holiday is aboard to begin the 9th. The Marlins will bring the tying run to the plate.
You got to get the leadoff man on. Solid contact off the fastball. That fastball down the middle of the plate. When they back through the box, he's had nice at-bats tonight.
So now it's Lewis Brinson, who did not start this game. Had a rough series in Philadelphia. Don Mattingly gave him the day off, at least to begin. Said he wanted to let him just kind of watch the baseball game, just kind of see what was going on, work on some things before the game. But he came on as part of a double switch in the middle innings in this one, and now finds himself up in a big spot here in the bottom of the 9th inning as the tying run with nobody out. 0-2.
The first 2 pitches, a very similar pattern that we've seen against Brinson over the last 4 or 5 ball games. You saw the first pitch fastball at his hands, that upper quadrant, I should say maybe just below his hands, but over the plate, 96 miles an hour. Then countering that pitch with a slider low and away. And you saw it the first 2 pitches from Familia.
One away here in the 9th.
Fastball in, slider away, fastball back in for Brinson. It's a tough fastball to catch up with.
Well, now it's Derek Dietrich. Hit by a pitch in the 4th, an RBI single in the 5th. And a base hit in the 7th. Outside, a ball and no strikes. Dietrich is now hit in 5 of the 6 home games this season. A couple of hits for him tonight. Just wants to keep the line moving here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Can't hold up, and it's 1-1.
Well, a recognizable advantage. Left-handed hitters 252 throughout Familia's career. Righties 180. Tells you how uncomfortable the two-seam fastball is to the righties. Lefties much more of a shot as that tailing fastball obviously is away.
And Dietrich out toward right field. Bruce over to the gap, and it's over his head. Holiday will head toward third. He'll get stopped there, and the Marlins have 2 in scoring position with 1 out in the 9th.
Great piece of hitting by Dietrich. Holiday had to hold up just a bit around second base. Jay Bruce gave signs that he might track this down. Good swing from Dietrich, his 3rd hit of the night. Good swing, stays on his backside and drives it into the right center field gap. Just past the outstretched arm of Jay Bruce. We talked time and time again throughout the opening homestand, obviously here again tonight. Marlins have given themselves opportunities to score. So the ABCs of baseball. Chance with runners in 2nd and 3rd here in the bottom of the 9th. Rojas 2 for 4 on the game.
Chase that one 0-1. The Marlins have had their chances in this ball game. They are 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Seen some heroics from Miguel Rojas. And that walk-off hit in the bottom of the 17th. First walk-off hit of his career. That was on the first Friday of the regular season. He homered against Jake Arrieta in yesterday's ball game. Nice bounce back win yesterday. Marlins trying to come back against the Mets here tonight. Dribbler up the line, and Familia will touch that one foul. Stepped up in spots like this before.
Quite clutch this season for Familia, relying on that heavy sinker. Of course, the Mets willing to trade an out for a run. Playing back on the infield.
Holiday led off the inning with a base hit. Brinson struck out, and then a double from Derek Dietrich. 2 on, 1 out. Marlins down a pair in the bottom of the 9th. Did he go? He did. 2 away.
Trusts the slider as well. This is where he's going to go for the put out. Rojas unable to hold up on the 88-mile-an-hour slider away.
Now it's up to Starlin Castro. Oh, 0-1. These are the types of games that the Marlins want to play, want to be in. These tight, low-scoring affairs. The first homestand was full of them.
Create opportunities late in ball games to come back. It's another one.
Familia walking a tightrope for the Mets here with runners on 2nd and 3rd. Just got the strikeout of Rojas. Now he's 1-1 to Starlin Castro. Marlins down to their final strike tonight.
Well, Familia right at Castro. 97-mile-an-hour two-seamer. Only one swing away, tying this ball game up.
The 1-2 pitch. Stays alive.
You're right back. The same spot. Castro able to get a piece.
Holiday off third, Dietrich off of second. Dietrich the tying run. But called strike three. Castro just frozen on that offering from Familia. The Mets hang on for a 4-2 win tonight at Marlins Park.
He set the slider up well. He went to it to get the strikeout. Castro, more quick look at this. Did it a couple of times and able to go to the slider. Certainly the 97 miles an hour gets your attention. That slider freezes Castro.
Familia gets the save. Mets get the win. Still much more to come from Marlins Park. The W.B. Mason Marlins postgame show is coming up. Marlins Live after the break.